Welcome to this proof of concept video where I'll be going over a vulnerability exploit that I recently discovered that can be implemented via HTML code that can be embedded into a eBay listing in the description section. This vulnerability utilizes what is known as a Canary token, which is simply put a unique link which allows for the user of the link to monitor all visitors who visit a page where the link is embedded, and it captures sensitive metadata information via sending GET requests to a server, which are able to capture this metadata without any visitor engagement or activity, meaning that somebody visiting a page doesn't need to click on anything in particular that would take them off site. It simply captures the visitor data of the visitor visiting the page where it's embedded. In this case, it will be we're going to embed this into an eBay listing. So let's get started here. And as I go along, I'll kind of explain the different ways of how different types of data, metadata that this technique is able to capture, and the different severity levels of this data, how the severity levels of the threat elevate when other data can be combined to the metadata. Let's go ahead and look up antenna. We're gonna make a mock listing here. I'm gonna go with this here, analog TV. How about that? I searched antenna, and that's gonna be a picture that I'm gonna upload in the description section, which is gonna allow for us to enable the functionality of this vulnerability. So the way that this is gonna work is we are going to create this mock listing. I'm not gonna really change anything other than the description section here. This is where we're going to embed our code. Code is going to be an image. It's going to be an HTML image that we're going to embed here, but the image is going to have this link attached to the image. Thus, when the image displays in the description section of our eBay listing, it will capture user information. So whoever visits this eBay listing, their information is going to be captured just by looking in the description section. Okay, they don't have to go off site or click on anything that would take them off of eBay or anything like that. Okay, so very important. There is a precaution that is already in place by eBay that, and as per eBay policy, you cannot embed HTTP links into this section, which is what our link is. Our link cannot function unless it is a HTTP link, because that's what allows for the GET request to be sent off-site. HTTPS uses encryption, thus this technique would not work. However, this is where the compromise really is. This would be the solution, is to patch this here in the description section. And I'll show you exactly how this works. This could be circumvented. There's already a measure in place on the part of eBay, but there's a way around that measure, and I'll show you how. So we're going to go to canarytokens.org. A Canary token, there's different service providers for Canary tokens. Canarytokens.org is the most popular that I'm aware of. It's free. It doesn't require any technical knowledge, so it doesn't take a programmer or a computer coder or a hacker to really understand how to implement this. We're going to go to custom image web bug. Then we're going to enter in our email. Then here we can enter whatever. This is just a reminder note, okay? So we can put whatever we'd like here. I'm going to type eBay token, okay? This is going to be where we upload our picture. So I'm going to upload a picture of an antenna, all right? And create my Canary token. Now this is going to be the link that we want, and we're going to make note of this code here because this is what we're going to type in our eBay listing, and then we're going to insert our link in between the quotation marks. So let's go back here, and here we go. We're going to type in our code here, and we're going to paste our link in that code, and then we are going to save. We're going to go down and we're going to list. Okay, this is our link. Now you see we have a prompt. It looks like you have an insecure link in your description. We do. It's HTTP. If we try to list it now, see what happens. It's not going to let us. eBay won't let us, right? So this is really where the vulnerability is able. Here's how we can implement the vulnerability, because otherwise eBay security policy only allows HTTPS. Okay, so we're going to make this into an HTTPS, but we're going to change it back because it will only work as an HTTP. So now we have it as an HTTPS, so we can list it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to list it, and then we're going to backtrack, and we're going to go back, and we're going to revise the listing. And eBay is going to let us. eBay is going to let us revise this listing, which is where, again, the vulnerability, this is how it takes place. So this is what the solution would be: fix whatever is allowing for us to go back. See, we changed it to HTTP. We're going to revise it, okay? And then we have our listing. So we're going to go to our listing. I'm going to show you how this works in several ways. First is going to be with my laptop. I'm running Firefox browser. I got Windows 10 on my laptop, and I'm connected to my home router. Okay. Now, we're going to visit our listing, and I'm also going to show you how this works from a mobile phone. Now, make note that when using a mobile device, there's more data that is captured from a mobile device than there is from a desktop or laptop device. Now, we're talking about metadata that by itself, the most sensitive part of that metadata would be an IP address. Unless somebody's obfuscating their IP address, most people, they use their home router or work router. They're not using a virtual private network or anything that gives them a layer of security and protects their IP. So when you're just looking at visitors, if somebody just visits or a listing, the severity of the threat by just having a visitor's metadata is very low. I mean, besides an IP address, you really don't have much unless you're using a mobile device. Then, in which case, you would have their wireless carrier name and their mobile device model number. However, if you if the visitor becomes a customer, if somebody says buy this now, okay, what we now have is a timestamp of the purchase and the visit. So I'm going to show you how this works, but before I do, that's really where that metadata becomes valuable. Is if somebody makes a purchase, we can look, unless there's mass traffic going to this listing, we can pinpoint that, it's the same person that made this purchase, Joe Smith, is more than likely also, the owner or the user of the IP address and all the other metadata that we get from our embedded code. It's not difficult to pinpoint that. You're just using timestamps and you're corroborating data. And I'll show you how this is done. So we're going to go down here. Now we're going to have to see full item description. I've had this work where the picture just actually shows up. That was most recently. I don't know if maybe eBay did something or maybe something changed, but I've seen this work without having to click on see full item description. But let's go ahead and click on it because we're still on eBay. We're not clicking to go offsite. This isn't really social engineering. If somebody's going to make a purchase, they're going to look at the full item description in most cases, especially if they're going to make the purchase. So we click on that, and what we have is a picture of our tenant. Our information just got captured by looking at this picture here. Our user information just got captured. Okay, so I'm also going to get an email that's going to notify me that my token was triggered, and I just had that alert come in on my phone. Now, I'm going to go to my email. And then here, we're going to go to our Canary token, okay? So here's our listing, okay? We clicked on see full item description. This popped up. We're on our Canary token because I never closed this window out. I'm going to go to manage this token, okay? And then I'm going to go to history. And then I see an incident list, which gives me the time, IP address, and we can click on it and we get the geolocation, right? And then we have the user agent information. Now, in my case, currently, I am running a VPN through my router, so this isn't my IP. But if I was using my home router without any kind of masking, and I will show you how that looks, but I'll do it from my phone. But it would show my IP, and it would show the organization, the internet service provider, your ISP. It would show you the approximate location, or exact location. It just really all depends how you have your internet set up. And of course, we have the user agent. So we have, operating system is Windows, browser is Mozilla, and so forth. Okay, not much there, right? Now, I'm going to show you the email. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy this listing link, and I'm going to send it to myself so I can access it from my phone while I'm doing this video. And when I access it from my phone, I'm going to do it in two different ways. I'm going to access my eBay listing from my telephone, and I'm going to click see full item description, which is going to open up this picture on my phone. And I'm going to do it from my wireless provider's internet that comes with my data plan without connecting to Wi-Fi. I'm just going to use my data on my phone, okay? And then I'm going to also connect to my home router from my phone and use my Wi-Fi from my phone and show you how that looks in the alert or the incident, in our incident report or our incident list. Now, see, my Canary token was triggered. If I click on this, 12:42 a.m., so attackers will get a notification. They don't have to keep their internet or computer open. They'll get a notification, and then they can take this information that they get in their email, and they can corroborate that with the times and say, did someone was it a customer? If we have a customer, we have their name and their personal information and details. We can corroborate that with the IP and other information depending on what device they're using. So that's key here. So this is where it gets interesting. Now, I'm going to send this eBay link item listing that I created myself. Okay, I'm going to send it to myself, and then it's sending. Okay, so it's sent. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my Canary tokens, okay? And I'm going to refresh this in just a moment. But first I'm going to open up my phone as I'm talking here and making this video. And I have a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So I have my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, and I have my email opened up. And I just clicked on the link to go to my eBay listing. So I'm now on my eBay listing, and I'm going to go to item description, okay? And when I click item description, the picture of the antenna pops up. So with the picture of the antenna just popped up, I'm going to refresh this Canary token, this browser, and I can see that there's an incident list. Boom, right here. This is what I just my activity from my mobile phone just showed up. And I just received an email on my phone that says that my Canary token was triggered. So when I click down this incident list, you could see here that there's a great wealth of metadata that's being provided, okay? And let's go over that. First thing we have, of course, is the IP. We have the timestamp and the IP, okay? The timestamp can be corroborated to a customer if that visitor is a customer. and we can establish a link between this metadata and a customer who purchased our eBay listing. We have an IP. We see that the geographic location is coming out of the U.S., Sacramento, California. I do have Verizon Wireless, so that's what we're seeing here. Cellco partnership, doing business as Verizon Wireless, and here we have the host name, right? Now we scroll down, and we can see the user agent information, which, to my surprise, it totally changes the game when somebody is using a mobile device, because now we see Android 9, right? I have Samsung Galaxy S9, and we have Android 9, and here's the Samsung Galaxy mobile device, the model number. Again, on its own, this information is not much. You could probably, if it's just a visitor and you don't have a customer, the visitor is not a customer, didn't make a purchase, all you really got is the IP that you can, try to make an attack on or use for reconnaissance or something of that nature. But if we can establish that we have a customer at this approximate same time, right, and we don't have very many visitors, let's say we're only getting one visitor an hour, or even if it's more than that, the timestamp is going to help us corroborate this information. Now, if our customer is from Sacramento, California, if they're using the same device to make the purchase, right, and we see that we have a customer who just bought our antenna or our Raspberry Pi or whatever it is in our listing, and we see they're from Sacramento, that's where we have to ship our item to, and then we see, look, we have our Canary token that shows us the impressions and captures the user information. We see that, that's coming out of Sacramento also, right? So that geolocation is going to help us really establish that connection, that and the timestamp. But now we have all this information. So, as a seller, you get a great deal of personal information that you're expected and trusted upon to keep private. But, in today's world, anybody can set up a eBay seller's account. And then with this information, there's no need to have this kind of data on a customer. You don't need to know what device they were using, unless you're signed up to some sort of analytics service through eBay, or that's a part of the eBay store. There's no reason why anyone should have this, because this opens up a potential to, for example, from a marketing perspective, you can selectively target a person based on their device. Now you know the kind of device they have. There's a lot of things you could do with this model number. You could look up their model number of their device, and you could see what features they do or don't have. Are they lacking any features? There, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm selling accessories, or you can email them, create an email list and say, hey, I got these accessories for your device, or have you ever thought about swapping out your device? Here, I have a different device that has more features, isn't maybe unlockable, or there's more specs and cool tricks that you can do to it. So that's just one example. And of course, you can use this information for reconnaissance. With this information, you can obtain more information. You can call a person and say you're calling from Verizon Wireless, correct? And say, hey, tell me about yourself. We're doing a survey or something like that. And that's what hackers and bad guys do. So it's really important to keep that in mind, that this little piece of data is a little piece of data, but it can go a long way. It can go a long way with somebody that has malintent and wants to misuse this data, and is not necessary for anyone to have. If you have customers, you don't need all this data from a customer. You really don't need this data from a customer whatsoever, especially if you're selling on eBay. As a seller does not need this kind of customer data. Now, what I'm going to do one more time is I'm going to access my listing, except now I'm connected to my home router, all right? So all I'm going to do, I'm on my phone right now as I'm talking, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to access my eBay listing from my phone, except now I'm not using my Verizon Wireless data plan. I'm now connected to my Charter Communications internet service provider at home. So I'm connected to that router. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to item description from my phone, and I just opened up the picture of the antenna, which is embedded with the code on my eBay listing. And now we're going to refresh this, and we're going to see that we have a third activity up here at the top, the most recent one. And now we open it up, drop-down menu comes down, and we see my IP address, and this is my home IP address, by the way. And I am in South Lake Tahoe, California, okay? And I do have Charter Communications. And here's the host name, okay? So there you have it. And of course, my user agent data remained the same because I'm still using my Samsung Galaxy S9, but you can see still my mobile device numbers there. So there's a lot that you can do with this data. When you have somebody's IP address, internet service provider name, and especially mobile device operating system and the model number, there's a lot that a bad guy or an attacker can do with this. And again, if I was using my home router without the VPN on my laptop, you know, same thing. And I could do that as well. I can go here to, I'll go here to my house and I'll connect directly, because right now I was connected to a VPN router. So, you know, same thing. If I go to my house, okay, and then I go to my listing, right, and then I click see full item description, and then boom, antenna opens up. We go back to our Canary Token portal here, and we can access this from our email as well, because we do get those trigger alerts. So I don't have to have this open. I can close this out if I wanted to, and I'll get, you know, if I go into my email, you know, here it gives me 1252. So it gives me, you know, your alert. It gives me an alert. So so if I go and refresh my Canary Token page, again, see, recent activity, same IP address as because I was connected with my phone, my mobile phone. So drop down, and again, it's going to tell you Charter Communications, except this time I'm connected with my laptop. So the only thing that would have changed now is the user agent information. And as you can see with a mobile, when I was with my mobile connection, it would give me the model number and the operating system. It gives you a lot more, I think. It can be, you know, if we click down below, see the mobile data, that model number is what you would want if you're an attacker. Of course, IP address. This is my actual IP address. So that's pretty much it. Just to wrap up on that, this is only possible because there's a glitch which is allowing for us to go back and revise the item. Initially, eBay blocks HTTP links, which make that GET request that give us this user information. But we're able to go back, even after being blocked, we can change this to HTTPS, and then we can revise this listing by changing it back to HTTP. So that's really key. That's what allows for this to work, is because it's HTTP. That's how you recreate this using canarytokens.org and setting up a mock listing. So hopefully, I hope, you know, I kind of bounce around. Hopefully I wasn't talking too much. But hopefully this all makes sense. And that's how you would implement this exploit. And again, the value of the metadata becomes more valuable if the visitor turns into a customer. That's how you can really abuse this data. So there's certain factors that must be factored into the severity level, but nevertheless, you know, there's a lot that you can do with this. I mean, if anybody, you know, really wanted to do like reconnaissance on someone and gather more data and information from them, you know, that's all you got to do is set up a store on eBay and go from there, you know. So hopefully this all makes sense. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have any questions, please let me know. And hopefully this is something that serves the benefit and interest of eBay. And please let me know. And thank you.